when my husband got down on one knee, the whole restaurant went silent. The fairy lights above us, the violinist in the corner, our families watching with their phones out. It looked like a scene from a movie. But the ring in his hand wasn't for me. It was for my best friend. The same best friend who used to cry on my shoulder about her bad luck with men. They thought I didn't know. They thought they would get their happily ever after while I quietly vanished from the picture. What they didn't realize was that I was the one who'd booked the venue, arranged the surprise guests, and that I was the one holding the microphone when the truth finally came out. I'm Emily, 29, and up until a few months ago, I thought my life was pretty close to perfect. I had a stable job as a project coordinator at a small marketing firm, a cozy 2-bedroom apartment in the city, and a husband I'd been with for 6 years, 3 of those married. And of course, I had Lily, my best friend since we were 13. If you'd asked anyone who knew us, they would have said we were inseparable. We went to the same high school, survived the same terrible haircuts, and held each other through every breakup and rejection letter. When I met Mark at a friend's barbecue, it was Lily who nudged me to go talk to him. "He keeps looking over here," she whispered, shoving a plastic cup into my hand. "Go. Worst case, you get free food." Mark was charming in that effortless way. Tall, confident, working in sales for a tech company. He had a way of making you feel like you were the only person in the room when he talked to you. We clicked fast. Within a year, we'd moved in together. Within 3, he proposed. Lily was my maid of honor, of course. She cried more than I did when I walked down the aisle. In our wedding photos, she's always right next to us, holding my veil, fixing my lipstick, hugging both of us like she was so happy for her couple. And for a while, I believe she was. Looking back, the red flags were all there. I just chose to see them as comfort, familiarity, family. Lily was always around. She'd drop by after work because she was too tired to cook. She'd sprawl on our couch in Mark's old college hoodie, eating our leftovers, joking that our place was her second home. Mark didn't seem to mind. "Lily's fun," he'd say, turning on the game. "It's nice having another person around. You work late a lot, remember?" And that was true. Part of my job meant late nights, last-minute client calls, and weekends spent fixing campaigns that weren't working. I was always tired, always trying to prove myself. Sometimes I'd come home and find Lily and Mark laughing about some show they'd been binge-watching together. "Don't worry, Em," Lily would grin. "We'll start it all over with you." It stung a little, but I brushed it off. They were my husband and my best friend. Why would I suspect anything? There were small things, now that I think about it. The way Lily suddenly started dressing a little nicer when she came over. The way Mark's phone was always face down on the table when we had friend nights. The inside jokes they had that I wasn't a part of. One night, after a long day at work, I walked in and heard them laughing in the kitchen. "Shh, she's home," Mark whispered. When I turned the corner, they were both just standing there. Too far apart to be suspicious, too tense to be casual. "Everything okay?" I asked, kicking off my shoes. "Yeah," Lily said quickly, grabbing her back. "We were just talking about your birthday. Gotta go, love you." She kissed my cheek and literally sprinted for the door. I remember standing there frozen, my brain telling me something was off, but my heart refusing to listen. Mark wrapped his arms around me from behind. "Don't worry," he murmured into my hair. "You're just tired. We're planning surprises, that's all." I wanted to believe him so badly that I did. I told myself I was being paranoid, that I was lucky to have a husband and a best friend who got along so well. I had no idea how far their getting along had actually gone. The shift started small. Mark began working late more often. Sales targets, client dinners, conferences in nearby cities. At first I didn't think anything of it. That was his job after all. But then Lily's schedule started to magically line up with his. "Ugh, my new manager is killing me," she said one afternoon over coffee. "I have to go to a training in Brighton next weekend. I'll be gone Friday through Sunday." My stomach tightened. Mark had mentioned he was going to Brighton that same weekend. Different company, same small coastal city. That's funny, I said, trying to sound casual. Mark's going to Brighton too? She blinked. Just a second too long. Really? Wow, small world, she laughed, a little too loudly. Guess everyone's into conferences now. I tried to shake it off, but the feeling wouldn't go away. The real crack appeared 2 weeks later. It was a Tuesday night. Mark was working late, and I was home alone trying to fix a frozen spreadsheet on my dying laptop. My own phone had been acting up, battery draining fast, apps crashing. Mark had left his tablet on the coffee table, screen dark but still on. We shared a cloud account for streaming services and some apps. It wasn't unusual for us to use each other's devices. My phone died in the middle of an important work message. Swearing under my breath, I grabbed Mark's tablet to log in and send a quick email. The screen lit up automatically. His messaging app was already open. I didn't mean to read it. But sometimes the universe rips the blindfold off for you. At the very top, a chat with L. Heart emoji next to her name. My chest tightened. Every sensible part of me whispered, put it down, respect their privacy. I wish I could say I did, but I tapped it. What I saw made my whole body go numb. Lily, can't stop thinking about this weekend. I still smell your cologne on my sheets. Mark, you and that bed are way more comfortable than my place. I hate going home afterwards. Lily, you mean going back to your wife? There was a winking emoji. Mark, don't call her that. It makes me feel guilty. You know you're the one I want. My hands were shaking so badly, I almost dropped the tablet. I scrolled further up. Hotel confirmations. Selfies of them in a hotel bathroom, his arms around her from behind, his face half hidden but unmistakably his. Comments about how clueless I was. And then the message that made everything inside me go cold. Mark, just give me a little more time. The divorce has to look natural, like we just grew apart. I don't want her going crazy and ruining our future. Lily, fine, but you promised. I want to be engaged before the end of the year. Mark, you will be. I'm planning something big. You deserve better than what she got. What she got? He was talking about my proposal, our wedding, our entire marriage. My ears were ringing. The room was spinning. But some stubborn, quiet part of my brain turned on. Divorce, proposal, to Lily, behind my back, while they sat on my couch, ate my food, called me family. I don't know how long I sat there scrolling. There were months of messages, complaints about me working too much, jokes about me being boring and safe. Lily complaining that I always needed her and how she was tired of being the side character in my life. At some point, I realized I was sobbing. The tears were just there. My t-shirt was soaked. A new message popped up. Mark, just confirm the restaurant. Private room, fairy lights, violinist, the whole thing. You're going to love it. Can't wait to see your face when I get down on one knee. Lily, you're crazy. This is too much. Satch, what if someone sees us? Mark, relax. I put it under a fake corporate dinner. I'll handle everything. You just show up and say yes. Below that was a photo of a ring. Not the one he gave me. Bigger, flashier. My heart broke. Then slowly, it hardened. I took a deep breath and wiped my face. My pulse steadied. I should have confronted him right then. I should have screamed, thrown the tablet, kicked him out. But as I sat there, another thought pushed its way into my mind. They think I'm stupid. They think I'm blind, weak, and too in love to ever stand up for myself. If I confronted him in that moment, he'd lie, gaslight, twist it, maybe even blame me. And Lily, she'd cry, apologize, and somehow make herself the victim. No. If they were planning a show, I was going to give them one, just not the one they expected. The first thing I did was take photos, screenshots of everything, their texts, their selfies, hotel bookings, the picture of the ring. I backed it all up to a secure folder on my own cloud account and emailed it to myself, my personal email, and a brand new backup account I created just for this. Then I calmly plugged in my dead phone and called the only person I trusted more than myself, my older brother James. James is a lawyer, not a divorce lawyer, but a good one. And more importantly, he's always seen right through Mark's charm. He picked up on the second ring. "Hey, Em, what's wrong?" I didn't even say hello. "I need you to come over," I whispered. My voice sounded like it belonged to someone else. "Now, please." 15 minutes later, he was at my door. I showed him everything in silence. His jaw clenched as he scrolled. "Okay," he said finally, setting the tablet down with controlled calm. "First, we protect you. Then, if you still want it, we make sure they don't walk away from this clean." We spent the next few days building a quiet case. James connected me with a colleague who specialized in family law. We went through my finances, our shared accounts, the lease on our apartment. I learned things I'd never bothered to think about. How property could be divided, how proving adultery could influence certain negotiations, what my rights actually were. It was terrifying and empowering. All the while, Mark acted like nothing was wrong. He kissed my forehead in the morning. He texted me, "Love you," from work. Some nights he came home late, smelling like Lily's perfume. I started noticing every lie, every team dinner, every traffic jam that made him late. I played the part of the oblivious wife perfectly. I even upped my game cooking his favorite meals, asking about his day, suggesting we invite Lily over less because I want more alone time with you. He actually looked relieved. "Yeah, that's probably for the best," he said, kissing my cheek. "You and I need to focus on us." "You have no idea," I thought. Then came the reservation confirmation. I accidentally saw it in his email while looking for a shared bill. Same restaurant where he took me for our first anniversary. Private room, live music, custom dessert. The note to the restaurant read, "Planning to propose to my girlfriend tonight. Please make it special." Girlfriend, not wife. I stared at the screen, my heartbeat strangely calm. I had a date now, a timeline. I asked my lawyer how fast we could get divorce papers drafted. "We can have them ready before that dinner," she said, "if that's really when you want to do this." "Oh," I replied, "that's exactly when I want to do this." The next part was delicate. I needed our families there, not for drama's sake, but because I knew how good Mark and Lily were at spinning stories. If I confronted them privately, by the next week I'd be the crazy wife who imagined things and overreacted. I wanted witnesses, so I called his mum. "Hey Laura," I said, forcing cheerfulness into my voice. "I'm planning a little surprise for Mark in a few weeks and I would really love it if you and his dad could be there." She lit up instantly. "Oh honey, of course." "What's the occasion?" I paused, choosing my words carefully. "Let's just call it an evening where the truth comes out." "I think it's time." She laughed, thinking I was talking about a baby announcement or vow renewal. "If this is what I think it is, we wouldn't miss it for the world." I did the same with my parents, my brother, and a few of our closest mutual friends. I told them all, "I'm planning something important for Mark. Please don't mention it to him. I'll explain everything that night." No one questioned me. Why would they? I'd always been the dependable one, the planner, the fixer. The night of the dinner, I dressed carefully. Not in one of the pretty soft dresses Mark liked. I chose a sharp black jumpsuit, red lipstick, and heels that made me stand eye to eye with him. Power, not pretty. Mark came home, eyes bright. "Hey babe," he said, kissing my neck. "I booked a work dinner tonight, remember? Don't wait up. It might go late." I turned, smiling sweetly. "Actually," I said, "I thought we could go out tonight too. I made a reservation at that restaurant we love." For a second, his face flickered. Panic, confusion, calculation. Then the charm slid back into place. "Oh, I'd love to, but I really can't cancel this work thing on such short notice," he said. "My job's on the line, you know that." I stepped closer and straightened his collar. "Don't worry," I murmured. "I already called your office. They said you'll be out tonight." His eyes widened. "What?" I just picked up my clutch and walked to the door. "I'll see you at the restaurant, Mark," I said, not bothering to look back. At the venue, I arrived early. The manager, who I'd met with the day before, nodded at me. "The private room is ready, miss. Carter, we've set up the screen like you asked." "Thank you," I said. My hands were cold, but my voice was steady. Our families and friends started arriving, one by one. There was confusion, excitement, whispers. "Is this an anniversary thing? Are you pregnant? Why does everyone look like they're waiting for a plot twist?" My brother squeezed my shoulder. "You can still back out," he whispered. I shook my head. "No, I can't." At 7:15, exactly 15 minutes late, Mark walked in with Lily on his arm. She was wearing a white dress. White. She froze when she saw the room full of people. My parents, his parents, our friends, me standing at the front. Mark went pale. What is? Surprise," I said, my smile razor sharp. "So glad you both could make it." You could feel the air change. Our guests' faces shifted from excitement to confusion to suspicion. Lily tried to laugh. "Emily, what is this?" "I thought this was a corporate dinner." "Oh, it is a very important business night," I replied. "We're just negotiating contracts of a different kind." I picked up the microphone the restaurant had set up for speeches. "I know everyone's wondering why you're here," I began, my voice echoing softly. "So let me explain." I looked straight at Mark. "You see, my husband and my best friend have been keeping a little secret from all of us." His face flushed red. "Emily, put the mic down. We can talk about this at home." "Funny thing," I said calmly, "you haven't really wanted to talk at home for a long time." I nodded to the manager. The lights dimmed slightly and the projector screen behind me flickered to life. On it appeared a screenshot of a familiar chat thread. His name, Lily's name, their messages. Gasps filled the room as the text scrolled slowly. "You just show up and say yes. You're going to love it. Can't wait to see your face when I get down on one knee." Photo of the ring. Selfie of them in the hotel bathroom, his lips on her neck. Lily covered her mouth. His mother whispered, "Mark?" Mark lunged toward the screen. "Turn that off." "This is private. You can't." I stepped between him and the projector. "What's private about planning a proposal to my best friend?" I asked. "While still married to me." Silence. "You've both been lying to me for months," I continued, my voice shaking now but from anger, not fear. "Sneaking around, using my home, my trust, my entire life as your cover story." I turned to our families. "He told her he was going to divorce me quietly," I said, "so I wouldn't go crazy and ruin their future." Everyone looked at him. Mark opened his mouth, then closed it again. There was nothing he could say. The proof was on the wall. Lily finally spoke, her voice high and panicked. "Emily, it just happened, okay? We didn't mean for this to—" "Stop," I said sharply. "You meant for it. You planned it. You just didn't plan on me finding out." I reached into my bag and pulled out an envelope. "These," I said, handing them to Mark, "are divorce papers. Already drafted. I'll be filing them tomorrow." He stared at them like they were on fire. "You can't be serious," he stammered. "We can fix this. We can go to therapy. We can—" "Save it," I cut in. "You didn't want therapy. You wanted a new wife. You can have your girlfriend. You just don't get to keep me or the life we built together." I turned to Lily. "And as for you, you wanted to be the main character so badly. Congratulations. This is your spotlight." She burst into tears, looking around for anyone to comfort her. No one moved. His mother quietly took off her necklace, the one she'd given me on our wedding day, and walked over to me. "Honey," she whispered, pressing it into my palm. "I'm so sorry. I didn't raise him to be like this." My own mom wrapped her arms around me from the side. James stood behind me like a shield. Mark reached out, desperate now. "Emily, please, can we just go outside and talk?" I stepped back. "We're done talking," I said. "My lawyer will be in touch. For now, enjoy your night. This is the fancy proposal dinner you wanted, right?" I handed the microphone to the manager. "Please," I said to the room, "stay and enjoy the food. I'm going home." Then I walked out. I didn't run. I didn't look back to see his face or hers. For the first time in months, I felt completely, utterly in control. The days that followed were a blur of paperwork, tears, and unexpected peace. Mark tried everything. He showed up at my door. He left voicemails. He sent long emails about mistakes and weak moments and how he still loved me. I didn't answer. Every communication went straight to my lawyer. It turned out that all those texts and photos were more than just emotional closure. They were leverage. We negotiated the divorce quickly. I kept the apartment. I got my fair share of our savings. He walked away with his car, his clothes, and the knowledge that everyone now knew exactly who he was. As for Lily, she tried to spin the story, of course. To mutual friends, she cried that I had humiliated her, that I was cruel for making it public. But screens don't lie. Most of our friends had seen the messages with their own eyes that night. Slowly, quietly, they stopped inviting her places. Group chats went silent for her. Last I heard, she and Mark tried to make it work for a while, but relationships built on betrayal don't tend to last. She couldn't handle the fact that his family barely tolerated her. He couldn't handle that she'd seen him at his weakest. From what a mutual acquaintance told me months later, they broke up after a massive fight, something about trust and money. The irony wasn't lost on me. As for me, I started therapy. I leaned on my brother and my parents. I let myself grieve not just the loss of my marriage, but the death of the version of myself that ignored red flags to keep the peace. I started saying no more often at work. I set boundaries. I redecorated the apartment, sold the bed they disrespected, repainted the walls, made the space mine again. A year later, I was promoted at work. Not because of what happened, but because once I stopped pouring energy into a man who didn't value me, I had a lot more to give to myself. Do I still think about that night at the restaurant? Yes, but not with regret. If I'd just screamed at him in our kitchen, they would have painted me as crazy. Instead, I gave them exactly what they were planning for themselves, a big dramatic moment in front of an audience. They just didn't get the ending they expected. In the end, the real revenge wasn't the public humiliation or the divorce. It was the simple fact that I walked away with my head high, my future intact, and a life where neither of them matter anymore. I learned that love without respect is just a trap, and that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do to people who betray you is show everyone who they really are and then remove yourself from their story. If you were in my position, would you have exposed them in front of everyone or handled it privately? I'm still curious what others would have done. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you've ever dealt with a cheating partner or a fake friend, feel free to share your story too. Someone out there might need to hear it. And if you like hearing real-life revenge and karma stories like this, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next one.